Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and it is Friday. So, time for us to talk about coping with feelings. And just welcome to everybody who's already here. Thank you so much. It's always nice to know that you are keen to be here. That's wonderful. Um, Jeannie, I'll update your news in that section if that's okay. I did quickly read through it before I went live. So just to let you know, I will update everybody um, for the replay. All right, so just to let you know, my concentration this weekend is going to be about beating up on yourself. And I'm not certain if I am the only person in the world that does that. But I did have another viewer talk about it this week. So I thought it is always a good idea to pick up on these clues and go, okay, fine, that's something we need to talk about. So everybody is welcome. Feel free to join in the chat if you wish to. Just know that if I don't know you well, I may double check with you on certain things if I'm not sure if you want that to be public, because sometimes people forget that it's going to go out on the replay. Why do we do the broadcasts? We do them because we want people to know there's a safe place to come and talk about stuff. And we all have stuff. And we do 3 broadcasts. The lunchtime one is about coping with feelings, which we all have. And by the way, remember, if you will, that feelings are on us. Nobody makes us feel anything. Feelings are what we do to ourselves. And if you can get that solidly in your mind, your life will get a lot happier. Of course, it's a bit difficult at the beginning because you've got nobody else to blame. And that really messed with my feelings when I first realized that one. But it's important for us to understand that the feelings we have are our own. Nobody else is to blame for those. It's how we react to what other people say or do. And then the second broadcast we do is on a Friday night, which is Coping with Life. And tonight I'm going to be doing some chicken kebabs and something else that I can't. Oh, I know, another sort of chicken. I'm going to do 2 different things. So then also in today's broadcast, as I said, we're going to do some useful tips about what to do if you're beating up on yourself. I'm going to be doing some unboxing. I've got a box full of unboxing for you because I had some fun things come in this week. And also to talk about some fear I had my first face-to-face meeting with my doctor. Day before yesterday. And I don't mind telling you, I had some fear about that. And the fear is a feeling, and therefore that's on me. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I think as we come out of the pandemic lockdown phase, I think more and more of us are going to be doing those sort of things, and it'll feel very different. And boy, it really did for me. For those of you who follow my chapters of the book, I think about this year as a book, and we're on chapter 7 now. Can you believe that? And we've turned 190 pages over of the 365, which means we only have 176 left. That's pretty scary, isn't it? Already 52% of the year has gone. And I found that really amazing to think about. Time is surely flying. And it is particularly, if I move on to the thoughts and prayers and viewer updates, Jody, particularly for you, right? It was just like 2 years ago, you started this journey towards being able to have a gastric bypass, even though you didn't know that's what you were going to end up doing. But you and I know that you started that journey 2 years ago. And now here you are, a couple of days away from having it. For those of you who don't know, Jody will have a gastric bypass on Monday. And I'm certain you all wish her well. And I thought that was incredible. Jeannie reports that she's feeling a lot better after her gallstone surgery, which is wonderful. And in terms of other updates on Jeannie, the second inspection of her house, it just flew by. So we know there was a serious problem Jeannie, with that first inspector. And I would say that the town of in which you live, I don't want to talk about what town you live in, but the town in which you live also knows they've got a problem now, a big problem. So well done for not keeping quiet about it. I'd like to acknowledge that took, it would have been easier not to complain about it or not to cause a stink about it, but you did. And I am very proud of you for that, because you made a difference for your whole community by so doing. I have a feeling, that guy had some ethical problems in my view, but that's my judgment. I also haven't heard from Amber. I don't know if anybody else has, but I haven't had an update from Amber. I did try and get hold of her and then realized I didn't have her email address. So Amber, if you happen to be listening at any time in your life, please make sure you send me your an email at dearmamasal@gmail.com so that I can get hold of you if I need to. All right. Other than that, holidays and special days, let me just see here. I would like to say that it's been a pretty quiet summer so far. Forgive me. I just want to see if I've got last week's birthdays, because all right, so if anybody's got a birthday that I need to know about, please let me know for this week. Jody, if you can quickly have a look and just see, it means I can carry on talking. And I don't know why, but I'm having, never mind what it is. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin and does a wonderful job on it, but she said she may end up being missing today because she's got a problem with her, what can I say, her battery charger. So if Jody does need to go missing, is there anybody that knows they're going to be here for the full broadcast that will pick up on the admin duties if she needs to go missing? I'd appreciate that if somebody could back her up, and maybe even have somebody that would be willing to do that job next weekend if Jody is not up to it. So there you go. For those of you who are regular viewers, let me know. So while we're waiting, all clear on birthdays. Thank you, Jody. What I love about doing this broadcast, we're very human. Yeah, that's for sure. Anybody have any feelings of accomplishment this week? And I ask that because I want you to be aware the joy you get from a feeling of accomplishment. I will talk about mine in a little bit. Well, actually, let me talk about it now, but I'll tell you why I ended up doing it in the next segment. I ended up yesterday spending, I would think, a full 4 to 6 hours out on my front garden, where I was literally, I was, what do you call it, hedge trimming. I've got a big hedge that runs all the way down the side of the house, and I was hedge trimming for quite a while. I was bush trimming, and then, the cleanup was horrific, you can imagine. But it felt really good to be outside and doing stuff, that I felt strong enough, that I felt well enough, and that I was able to do it. However, it did end up with a feeling of stupidity. I don't know if you can see a slight rosiness to my shoulder here. Let me make it more obvious. Can you see that I got just a tad burned? And, I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Normally, I would wear a T-shirt, not a shirt, a top like this. And it was just like, oh, seriously, so. Hang on, let me see what people say. Jody saying my accomplishment was not devouring the dark chocolate espresso cookies that I made for Lionel. Yeah. So Jody is on a liquid diet now, ready for this operation on Monday. So it must have been so difficult to make those cookies. What I am amazed about is how many wonderful things you have done. To get food into the freezer and ready for Lionel for while you are unable to eat. I think that is just, just wonderful what you have done. Yeah, and Jeannie's saying, yes, I kept it until we had a better inspector and waited an extra 10 days at a hotel, but we succeeded. Not only that, you got a full 100% pass on your house and you get to move back in again next week. I think that's just so wonderful. Ah, hi, Erit. Good to see you. Some aloe vera gel. Yeah, it's actually not too bad. I did it yesterday. Is it still worth putting it on now? Because I've got it. I'll put it on after the broadcast. How about that? Anyway, but it was about what I managed to do. Now, I'm a great believer. It's worth it. Okay, hold on a second then. Why does this always feel like family? Okay, hold on a second. Thank you for caring, guys. There it goes. Oh. Could one of you just pop round behind my back here and put some on my neck while you're at it? That would be really kind of you. Oh, that feels good. Well, Jeannie, you're right that an aloe vera plant is something that I definitely am going to get in my house. Yeah, Jody's saying the reason it feels like family is because we are one big family. And isn't that wonderful? Yeah, actually, that feels a whole lot better. Thank you. And Irit, how kind of you to be the mother hen on that one. I'm certain if Jody had seen it earlier, she would have insisted on it. But of course, I kept that news from her. But I wanted to make the point. Do you know how long on my to-do list moving forward and forward and forward day by day, I have had find the tools to be able to trim the hedges and bushes? And the reason that was difficult to do, for those of you who don't know, is I had a fire in my house, as did Jeannie, of course. But I also had to get rid of my garden shed. And in order to do that, I had to put all my tools under my house in different places. And I have systematically been going through all those things that went under the house to try and find the trimmers. And I'm pleased to tell you that yesterday I did, obviously. And it was, it was two things I want to say about that. Number one is, for a lot of my working life, I bought things that I thought I might need when I retired and might not have the money for it. Now, does that make sense to anybody? I kept thinking, when I retire, what might I need that I might not be able to afford? And so what I did is, while I was still working, I bought things like hedge trimmers and rotavators and all sorts of things. And, I am so glad that I did, because I don't, it cost me probably the price of one person to come in and do all that to get it once. But now, the funny thing was, while I was doing it, a guy came to my neighbor across the way here, a landscaping guy. And, I'm pretty certain that my neighbor paid more for the landscaper to do what he did than I paid for my machines. And in fact, one of my neighbors came by and said, boy, are you well stocked on machines? Because not only did I have the cutter, right, the trimmers, but I also had the giant vacuum, that can vacuum up branches and stuff. I've got one of those. Well, actually, it does thin branches, but leaves and crud like that. It pulverizes it. And then I also have on the same attachment, I take that off and then put on the other thing, and that becomes a blower where I just, tidy it up. So in the course of 4 to 5 hours, I trimmed half a hedge. In fact, from that end of the house to roundabout where I am pointing now. And then next week I will do the second half, which isn't nearly as bad. And then I did all my little shrubs. Oh, there's still one shrub to do, but one bush, but I will do that next week. And I was just really happy with it. And then by the time I'd finished, I had a really pretty looking front area. Now, I don't know about if any of you can relate to this. Don't overdo the work, people. For example, I started by vacuuming up the trimmings from the hedge. And then I thought, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Nature wouldn't do this. Nature would just let the hedge needles turn into compost. And so what I did is I then decided to push all those needles under the hedge and let it turn into compost. What do you think? All right. So Irit is saying, we also have those tools for the garden. We do the gardening early in the morning. Yes, but I'm retired now, Irit. I don't do mornings. Yes, you do a little every day. And that is the other thing. All right. Number one, think how many months I had that find the trimmers on my list. But I knew eventually I didn't want to forget about them, but I knew eventually I would find them, and I did. It was just a process of elimination. Are they here? No, every week I looked in a new place for them. And so then, I want you all to get that, all right, that you don't give up on a goal. I am a great believer in good timing, all right? Everything comes at the right time. And so therefore, it wasn't much point finding it when it was raining, all right, because I wasn't going to go out there in the rain and do it. But, now I've found the blower and I've put them all back exactly where they were, because now I know that little place under my house is where the trimmers are and the blowers and things like. And by the way, the power washer was also there. So, all right. So Irit is saying that they're also retired. Better to wake up early and rest later, especially in the summer. Yes, but you know something? That is what wise people do, Irit. Enough said. So it was a great feeling of accomplishment for me. So hang on a second. Let me see what else I have missed. I think I've got everything covered. All right, if I've missed a comment, please write it again. Ginny saying, picked weeds in super beet fields early on the kibbutz. Oh, ate breakfast in the field around 10 a.m. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, and I think that's a way of life, when you live in that sort of community setting. I was actually talking to my neighbors about that. And one of the things I was saying that, we've got one neighbor that grew some really great early potatoes and gave me some. And I said, don't worry, my potatoes are going to start being able to be harvested pretty soon. But what I've done is I've systematically planted potatoes. So once that starts, I will be able to harvest potatoes, not only for myself, but also for my neighbors. Now, obviously, they will get some, I will get the rest. So to me, it's exciting stuff to do. Now, I wanted to say, that did any of you have a feeling of coincidence? I'm going to talk about one that Jody had. Jody told me that, one of the things that's going to happen, of course, is when she has this surgery, she's going to drop a lot of weight. And it will take time, but she's going to drop quite a bit of weight in quite a hurry. And so that is exciting in one way, but oh my gosh, when you are on a very limited budget, that is also frightening. And so, because she's going to need to go through a number of different sizes over the coming seasons. And then, I don't believe in coincidences, and luckily neither does Jody now. Lionel was busy unpacking something, a bureau that they had. He was busy getting it ready because they're going to get rid of it. And guess what was in it? A whole set of winter clothes in one of the sizes she's going to need. Isn't that wonderful? So, and it's like, that takes all the pressure off Jody in terms of trying to find clothes of that size. She now knows that she's got that size covered for winter clothes. So I thought that was wonderful. I had this situation happen to me where a friend of mine phoned me and was chit-chatting and saying, when can we get together? We've been trying to find a time to get together for the longest time. And she's one of those people that wants to do it instantly. And I'm one of those people, I like to plan people coming over because that's the way I do things. And so she phoned me and she was busy chit-chatting and suggesting that she come over yesterday, which was the day after that particular call. And I'm going, well, next week would be, more convenient. But then I realized that yesterday was in fact her anniversary. And that is the friend of mine that you heard about whose husband died in a week, just before Christmas. And this is the first anniversary, obviously, since he passed. And I then stopped and realized the world is not all about me. Do you ever get that feeling where you go, wait a minute, the world is not just about me? And I went, let me hear you. Are you saying that on your first anniversary without him, you would like to come see me? Because I don't know about you, but that puts a whole different spin on it. And she said, exactly. And I said, no problem at all. Come on over. Let's have lunch and let's have some laughs and let's remember some good times. And so then, how do you think I'm feeling after that? A little stressed because my house is, not ready for visitors. I had done some more unpacking and stuff. I also, needed to get food out that I could, so I could do lunch and stuff, and it was just like, and this happened about 10 o'clock at night. So it was a lot of, boy, I need to get things ready. And I did. And I got it all ready. And at 11 o'clock, she was coming at 12. At 11:05, I got a note to say, sorry, I need to cancel it. I need to go to my accountant for my taxes. Now, how do you guys feel about that? How would you feel? Now, I want you to be honest about this because it's really important to process it. All right. And so that when this happens to you, you can process it at once. And, it's just like the first feeling I had was, who finds out about that an hour before they're due to be somewhere else? All right. That was my first feeling. I don't mind telling it. Yes, Jeannie's saying she would have felt hurt, as if she changed her mind. And, so I there's nothing wrong with feelings, all right? Feelings are a good thing. And we're going to be talking about beating up on yourself feelings in a moment. Now, interesting enough, Irit saying, that was nice of you. I always agree to have a friend come and visit, even if it's not convenient. You never know how the friend feels. Yes. But I also believe that I have, the right to be able to live my life without a lot of stress. So that is part of my thing. Kimmy's saying, I kept my clothes that are too big now. I still wear them. Clothes are expensive, yes. Jody's saying her first reaction wouldn't have been frustration, maybe a split second of anger, to be honest. And that's why I said, please be honest, because I want you to understand that these feelings that we have are normal. All right? So who doesn't know that they've got an appointment with their accountant for taxes? I mean, to me, that was just like, really? Anyway, but then I went, wait a minute, let me think again. Let me think about this. Is the time of coming up to, and it was her first anniversary. What are the chances that her mind just isn't thinking straight? And that she double dated without even realizing it? And the only time she realized it was when she opened up her daytimer that day. Yes, Jeannie, thank you for understanding that. Jeannie's saying, if you prepared food, that is hard to take. Yes, and I did. I bought out, just so that you know, that you nailed it on the head on that one. I had bought out prawns to make a prawn salad. And then I also bought out some chicken because I was going to, give her a chicken option as well. And, quite honestly, I bought out enough for about three to five meals for me. So thank you, Jeannie, for understanding that. So that is why we're going to be doing 2 lots of chicken tonight. I had the prawns last night, and I loved them. And now I went, okay, fine. I don't, the chicken is out, it's defrosted. So what can I do with it? And I thought, I will do a couple of things for, coping with life. We'll do some experiments here on the worktop. Jody's saying 2 options, such a thoughtful hostess. Well, it's just like some people, I know, I try to remember when we go to lunch, what does she normally have? And we normally have an entree and then, an hors d'oeuvre and then an entree. So I was thinking I could do a prawn cocktail type thing to start with, and then a chicken and salad to carry on with. So there we go. But the joy is I get to pre-cook some chicken ideas. And I thought, chicken can get pretty boring. You will remember that I bought a big box of chicken breasts. And so I took 2 out. And then what I'm going to do is do a couple of things you can do with 2 chicken breasts to see how far you can stretch 2 chicken breasts. Hi, Erin. Erin's saying, everybody in my house is just evaluated for the wheelchair and our slower chairs. I'm getting a brand new chair. Well done, Erin. I bet that feels good. Ginny's saying last night we celebrated at a restaurant. York had steamed lobster and I ate a shrimp cocktail and then a flank steak. The shrimp was huge, delicious. Yes, my shrimps were prawns, actually. I had prawns. So what I'm saying is turn the lemons into lemonade, right? The fact that it got canceled, I just went, wow. After I got over that moment, and then life is not just about me, that's really important. When you get angry, remember life isn't just about you, all right? And by the way, did she make a mistake? We all make mistakes. Have any of you ever accidentally double booked somebody in the moment? Yeah, I have. So to me, this is really, really important that you understand that I then said, what am I going to do with my day? All right. I've now got this extra time that I didn't think I was going to have. And that's why I had the time to go hunt for the trimmers. And then not only do that, but I found extension cords, and I have lots of them. I found extension cords, and then I found the blower and everything else. And I thought, now I know what I'm going to do with the time. I'm going to use that energy. Remember what I said. Remember what I said about if you have a negative reaction to something, get rid of that negative energy. Use the energy. Benji taught me that. Use that energy in a positive way, because it does give you energy. You know, negative energy is energy. So take it and use it. Clean, you know, do windows, do whatever. Erin's saying, yes, it's always like Christmas. My mom and dad would be really happy, and I'm sure they had a hand in this. I haven't had a new chair since right before my mom died. Wow, isn't that wonderful? Irit's saying, we don't eat shrimp. I wonder what they taste like. Seafood. You know, if you, it's seafood tastes like seafood, you know. So, yeah, Jody's saying shrimp is a favorite of mine. Did I say shrimp originally? It actually was prawns. Yeah, the bigger ones. So, can you understand the whole process here? Excited because she was coming, and then disappointed, and then how do I use that energy in a positive way and end up with sunburn? You know, so to me, it was like, let's not dwell on the negative. I was so grateful to have the extra time, and I didn't use it doing normal stuff. All right. Think about that mentality. He didn't use it to do normal stuff because I would normally not have had that time. Am I making any sense here? This was a gift of time I was given, this extra block of time. And I thought, how long would she normally stay? About 4 hours. Okay, so find something that you've been dying to do, but you need the time to do it. And I went, go find those trimmers. You know, I was prepared to spend 4 hours trying to find them. And then when I found them and got them all out, and then I found the extension cords, and I thought I was on a roll. And so can you see how I took the negative and turned it into a positive? So, and again, and I say this time and time again, trust the timing of life. All right? Even though it doesn't fit with my timetable necessarily, trust the timing of life, because somebody up there knows it's the right time. And again, be aware of, you think you need to do it this week, but maybe you don't. I just need to change something here. Hold on 1 second. Okay, no, that's the wrong one. Okay. So again, it's about, we think that this is urgent, but maybe the universe doesn't. So that's why I want to talk, and I just want to move that up, about this next section. Hold on 1 second. I want to talk about this beating up on yourself thing. Please remind me to go back again. All right, so Irit's saying, you're so right about energy. I also try to be positive. Today at 3 p.m., even though I was tired from cooking, I had 6 bananas in a bowl, so I made a huge banana bread, and I froze some. Yes, you know, what I do, actually, Irit, if I have bananas that are beginning to turn, I just chop them up and freeze them. That way I can use them in smoothies, or I can make banana bread or whatever. But I find just chopping them up and throwing them in the freezer works really well for me. especially now that I found out how to make that banana ice cream thing. So this week, a number of things happened, but one of them, if they were so soft, it doesn't matter. Just freeze them. So soft is really good in smoothies, all right, and for ice cream. Jeannie's saying, I have to describe shrimp or scallops as they seem full and meaty as opposed to haddock, which is lighter taste. Lobster, at first taste, may seem salty. I have never found lobster salty. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Eric, there is no such thing as too soft. In my book, it's called freeze. You'll do it in a smoothie. Mainly because I don't necessarily like banana bread. All right, isn't that funny? Now I just realized why. Mushy, it's fine. It's still banana. And so here's the thing. I was beating up on myself because I still am doing all these things to try and lose weight, and I'm still not doing it. And here's the question. Do you ever beat up on yourself? Because I believe that is a good thing. I believe it's your inner critic, but I believe your inner critic has good intent. All right? In other words, my inner critic is saying, if you keep on doing what you've always done, you're not going to get the results you want. So you better look at this again. And then I also went through my personal process, which is I hear you, inner critic, but is it true? All right. And the truth is I have lost weight, just not as much as I would like. And the truth is that I have lost 4 inches off my stomach. It doesn't look like it to me because, I still look like I'm pregnant. But the truth is I have lost 4 inches around my stomach. And nearly 5, quite honestly. I think in another week or so, it could be down to 5 inches off my stomach. So do you understand that something in there was telling me you need to pay attention to your health? Does that make sense to anybody? That is the message that I got. And then I realized that I have a lot of little things that are not quite right. And so I booked an appointment to go see my doctor. And I don't mean over the internet. I mean, go in and see my doctor and have him check my back. I have a history of having had some cancerous type stuff on my back. So he can't see that, over the internet necessarily. And so I needed my back checked. I needed, I've got moles that are growing, in all sorts of places. And, and some that I can feel, you guess where they are, some that I can feel, but I can't see necessarily. And so I went, okay, I need to get these things checked. Plus, there were some other physical things that were happening. The first thing that surprised me was for the first time in my life, I went into a doctor's office during pandemic phase. I didn't realize that they had only allowed 4 people in the waiting room. And by the way, there was nobody in the waiting room, unheard of in his, normally there, I would say in that waiting room, because there are 3 doctors together, there are normally at least a dozen people. And to see an empty waiting room was like, wow. So to me, that's really, important to feel that. And then he took my blood pressure and my blood pressure was up. Now, I don't know about you, but my blood pressure is normally 130/80. And it's like Sometimes it'll go to 132 over 80 when I go in. But, it's just like around 130 over 80. Well, guess what? He took my blood pressure and it was 160 over 70. Now, some of you are saying white coat syndrome, you were, scared about going in some way or whatever, and that's what pushed it up. And that's why he left it for a good 10 minutes and then took it again, and it went down to 150. Still too high. So, to me, this is like interesting. When he added that up to the other symptoms that I had, he said, okay, I'm doing a full bank of tests. So, in other words, he was, testing everything. And, the thing that upset me was he said, and I'll also do your A1C while we're at it. Now, you know me, I've got a plan with my A1C. When I know it's coming up, I absolutely, for about a month, behave myself a lot more. So that by the time I take the A1C, it's the average is down. So I'm below 6. Well, I wasn't expecting this one, was I? And I don't know why that one really upset me. The high blood pressure it didn't upset me nearly as much as the A1C. Go figure that one. Why is that? So, talking about this whole thing about beating up on yourself, do you understand that beating up in yourself is just a heads up for you? So can any of you think of when you were beating up on yourself? Because I want to actually get some process around it. All right, Kimmy's saying, when I take my blood pressure, it goes up because the pump that the cuff is on, because they pump the cuff up too much and it squeezes my hand. I want to tell you, it certainly hurt my arm when he did it, but it's meant to, I think. Ah, interesting. Jeannie's saying that I lost control of the situation. Yes, of the A1C situation. Yeah, I did. You're right. Thank you, Jeannie. And I just literally, I reacted so honestly, Jeannie. I just went, no, I can't do my A1C yet. I'm not ready. And he said, what? I said, no, I'm not ready for it. I said, and he said, you prepare for your A1C? And I said, always. And I know I'm not ready for it right now. But the good news was that I came in at 6, which is higher than I would like. I'm normally under 6, but I came in at 6, and that's not, that is not too horrific. I'm surprised, actually. I was expecting it to be way worse than that. So can you understand that it's like beating up on myself about the fact that I had too much carbohydrate in the last month was useless at that point. Could I have refused to do the A1C? Yeah, I could have said no, thank you. But it actually, when I look back on it now, beating up on myself because I hadn't eaten properly was understandable. But what is really my inner critic saying to me? Sal, if you'd kept better control, you wouldn't be worried right now. Does that make sense to everybody? That's what my inner critic is saying. Is, Sal, hey, you're upset because you were eating too many carbs. Right. And Kimmy's saying she did her labs and they all came out good. I wish I could say the same, Kimmy. A couple of mine are not so good. But I'll let you know about that when I find out more from my doctor. I don't believe any of it is bad. Let's put it that way. I think it's moving in the wrong direction. But I seem to remember once before the things were moving in the wrong direction. And it wasn't a major thing for me to worry about because of my age and everything else. That's what I want to find out. Is this normal at my age that they will start to move in the wrong direction? And again, what is a doctor? A doctor is a source of medical information. So I will go and find out what I need to do, what I need to adjust. I am pretty certain that my blood pressure, he said, is it normally this high at home? I said, I wouldn't know. You don't have a blood pressure machine? No. Do I need one? you know, it's just like, I'm pretty sure that my blood pressure is pretty good. Why? Look at my resting heart rate. My resting heart rate is, averages around 59, 60. It wouldn't do that if I had a constantly high blood pressure. So I look at beating up on myself as a total waste of time, be it about my weight or my carbs. Or the question is, thank you for the warning, inner critic. I hear you. The question is, what do I choose to do about it? All right, because I do have control. And as Jeannie so rightly said, I lost control of when I did my A1C, and that upset me. But I also know that it has taken me many years to put on this weight. Beating up on myself about it is not going to change my weight. What's going to change my weight is my behavior. All right, so Irit's saying we have a blood pressure machine. It's important. You know what he said as well? Irit, he said to me, by the way, if you get one, get the large one. I said, what? He said, the regular size one won't go around your arm. Now, that's a new goal now. My arms don't look that fat, do they? Maybe they do. Anyways, so when you're beating up on yourself, do you think that often, think about this for you, all right? It's not about right or wrong. Just get honest with yourself. Do you feel as though you're the only person making these mistakes? All right? Jody, when you beat cancer, got lymphedema, and ballooned up that weight, did you feel that you were less than because of your weight, even though you had no control over what your body was doing? You see, the interesting thing is what we do to ourselves. And when we do that sort of stuff, we isolate. Oh, I'm not going to go out because people will look at me and think that I eat too much, when it's not true. Personally, being me, I'd probably go out with a sign that says, I have a disease. It's called lymphedema. That's why I'm ballooned up. I eat 1,100 calories a day, and this is what my body looks like. I would, I'd have business cards. If I saw anybody give me that look, I'd just go, here, you might need some information. Oh, interesting. Jeannie says she hates doctors telling us about losing weight. Yeah, why? Why do you hate that? I always remember my doctor talking to me about quitting smoking, and he'd say to me, how's the smoking going? And I'd go, fabulous. Thank you so much for asking. Because I knew what the message was. I got it, but I chose how to receive the message. And so, do I know I need to lose weight? Yes, he didn't tell me that. And by the way, when he said, come stand on the scale for me, I did. And do you know something? I didn't even bother to take off my shoes. I was just like, I'll stand. Let me be as heavy as I possibly can right now, because hopefully I will be able to shift that. And, if you think about it, when you do that in the winter, you're going to put on at least extra pounds because of the heavy clothes you're wearing, right? So anyway, I'm not going to have any fear about standing on a scale anymore. You see, I know I am overweight. So I don't need to beat up on myself anymore about that, because I know, and I'm doing things towards being better. Yes, go ahead, Beth. Beth is saying that she would be more worried if he didn't address the weight issue. That's his job. Yes, good point. And so to me, I don't believe that any of the things that have been going a bit astray in my body have to do with my weight. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is not so. I think you all know, I did mention that to my doctor so that he knew. I said, a year ago, I was averaging about 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day. And I want you to know that I have done a concerted amount of work on my health. And I have done things like intermittent fasting, and I am trying to keep I'm trying to keep my carbs under control because of my A1C stuff. And I said, and I'm now averaging closer to 6,000 to 9,000 steps a day. So let's call it 7,500. I'm in that sort of range. Now, I don't know about you, but to go from 2,000 to 3,000 to 7,500 average shows that I'm putting in some effort. Yes, so Jeannie's saying, I kept trying to lose weight, but I've had some recent times when I could not exercise much. Yes, how about Jody, who cannot walk? She has exercised using her arms. She never let that stop her, Jeannie. She said, I may not be able to walk, but I can sit in my chair and watch television and use my arms. And Jody, tell me what your doctors said about that when they found out that's what you were doing. And she is up to literally doing 2,000 of these a day she did 11 miles on the week. Are you serious? Just doing this? Kimmy's saying, I felt bad when they would not do the test for thyroid. They would tell me to diet. When they finally did the test, I was very heavy and I had thyroid problems. I just cried and said I wouldn't have been this heavy. Yes, but it is what it is, right? All right, and it is what it is. I had the same problem, by the way, Kimmy. Not the doctor I'm with now, but another doctor I kept complaining about all the symptoms of thyroid problems. My hair was falling out, the swollen legs, everything. And it was really interesting that that doctor did not test me for thyroid. All right, so here's the thing that Jody's doctor said about her doing these arm rolls, okay? She said the doctor said it was a perfect way to use the Wii. They were going to recommend it to other patients like me. So again, what I'd like you to say is Jody had the excuse that she could not exercise because she cannot stand for very long. She cannot walk for very long. How many steps can you take, Jody? Not many, right? And what I had a private conversation with Jody and said, hey, do you want to exercise? Because I think I can prove to you that you can exercise without walking. So those of you who are incapable of walking, those of you who are not fit enough to be able to stand and walk or whatever, there are other ways of doing it. And by the way, even just doing this, just the arm exercises, do this. Just anything that gets your blood flowing a little bit will help you. Beth is saying, I would find a doctor who would do it. You pay them to listen to you. If they don't, they're fired in my book. And I will see another. Yes. Jody's saying, yes, she cannot do many. She can stand for about 3 minutes at a time. That's all. So big round of applause again to Jody for taking control of what she could do. All right. Jody has learned not to give excuses now. It's what can I do? And to me, it's like when I beat up on myself because I haven't lost weight, It's not true. I have. It's just not the amount I would like to lose. And what do I hear every time? My weight, to a large extent, is the result of what I put in my mouth. And so I look at it and go, have I been doing, my usual half hour on the Wii every day? No, because it's summer. And the reason I haven't been doing it in the summer is because the weather's pretty good. I should be out there walking. But then guess what happens? It gets to hysterically hot weather. And I've got, I can't go out there. I will, it's too hot at my age. So did I then walk in and go and do the Wii? No. So hello, I need to get my routine back. Jody is saying, you've made amazing strides in your health, Sal. I'm so proud of you. Well, I feel, it's strange. Even though I haven't lost the amount of weight that I would choose, I feel fitter. I have to say that. I said to my doctor, right, a year ago, I could hardly walk upstairs because of the arthritis in my left hip. And I completed the marathon, the 5K of the marathon. So, to be able to lift this, look at this. Actually, this one hurts because I've caught a nerve on my that side. I shouldn't have done that. But the good news is that this leg that was such a problem, and I could hardly lift it, now works. And I'm proud of that. And why does it work? Because I instead of favoring it, I put it to work. Jody's saying, Lionel saw you last week and did a double take, said you look great. Thank you, Lionel. I'll let you know next week whether I actually am, all right, when I understand these tests better, what's going on. But, there's the other point of view, which is something happening in my body that's creating I don't feel unfit. I feel bloated all the time. And that is what's frustrating me, is that I can't seem to get rid of that bloatedness. And then I found out that, maybe there's a reason why that's happening, and it might have nothing to do with the exercise I'm doing. Oh, what I'm saying to you is, when you start beating up on yourself, hear yourself and go, okay, I'm beating up on myself. I think I said to the viewer that talked to me about it, I am beginning to wonder whether beating up on yourself is a form of being a victim. All right? And when I say a form of being a victim, it's about, if you beat up on yourself, you don't feel you have to do anything. Oh, I'm such a waste of skin. I can't even lose weight. But I've now trained my mind to say, unless you do something about it. Does that make sense to everybody? So I hear the inner critic saying, you haven't lost weight. And I go, is that true? I talk back. Is that true? Let's have a look. And I literally will go to my data systems and I will check it up. Hi, Nada. How great to see you. I will look it up and see, is it true? How heavy was I a year ago? Well, I've lost 10 pounds. Now, I haven't lost 40, but I have lost 10. And then again, how is my waist doing? I have lost 4 inches off my waist. So to me, I'm constantly going, I hear you, and you would like me to do more, and I will, work a plan. So do you understand that 4 hours or 4 or 5 hours, whatever I spent out in the garden, long way around this story, I ended up doing nearly 10,000 steps yesterday. I think it was 9,926 or something. So again, but did it feel like exercise? No, it felt like I was accomplishing stuff. But the truth was, it was resistance training. Think about holding up my hedge trimmer up this high. It was way, obviously, as you can see, right? It was way up here. I wasn't going to climb a ladder to do it, but I got high enough, just reaching up. So that's resistance training, right? I was bending down doing low hedges. That's stretching my back. I was, picking things up and putting them in the organic bin. It's all exercise. Nada's saying that she's got this idea as well. And she's saying on commercial breaks, I stand up when she's watching TV. She stand up and I march on the spot. Yep. And, if I'm really low on steps for a day, I actually will put on the next thing I'm binge watching, and I will not sit down. I will stand up. And I won't even lift my toes off the ground. Nada, does that make sense? I will march in place, but without lifting my toes off the ground. And it's amazing how that works. So I am stronger. I'm no doubt about that, Jody. You are right about that. I am definitely stronger than I was a year ago. Even with, I've got a pinched nerve in my back. So, what do I need to do? Yeah, I need to stretch my spine out to help that. And you're saying go to the chiropractor. Well, I could, but my chiropractor doesn't believe in vaccines, so I don't know why. I'm a little bit concerned about that. So, in terms of beating up on yourself, can you think of some things that you have been beating yourself up on? If you're normal, you have. This is not that you're a bad person. This is if you're normal, you have. And while you're typing, Erin sent me, Erin actually didn't send me, but she put up a quote from Anthony Hopkins. And I thought I would read it. It's fairly long. Oh, wait a minute. Just before I do that, Beth is saying nearly half of the US government won't take the vaccine. Something I heard, and I don't know if it's, I believe it to be true, that of all the deaths last week, 93% of them were people who were not vaccinated. So, Beth is saying, do they know something we don't? I think there is a lot of, it's interesting where those people are, Beth. If you have a look at where they are, the states that are unvaccinated, it is an interesting thing. Yeah. And so this is about, now the question, before I do this Anthony Hopkins quote, let me just move on to this because it's something that needs to be talked about. I heard somebody say yesterday or the day before, I have stopped wearing my mask at work because I know that I am now protected. And I now say to those that I know have not had a vaccine, if I give you COVID, I apologize. Put your mask on or get a vaccine. And he said, why should I be wearing a mask now? This is like, this is on you now. Wear a mask, protect yourself because you have not been vaccinated. That's your right if you don't want to have it, but you got to carry on wearing a mask, buddy. And so, this is, I heard, you remember, Beth, I don't know if you remember, a couple of broadcasts ago, I was saying in one government office, 6 people got COVID. 2 died within 24 hours because it was the Delta variant. 2 died within 24 hours. And then only 1 person didn't end up in hospital, and that 1 person was the one that had been vaccinated. Of the 6, only 1 had been vaccinated. So, guys, I think the shift is coming now where the number of people, that are vaccinated are going to live a normal life to a large extent. The problem is we don't know who hasn't been vaccinated, but we can still get it and give it to other people. You do understand that, right? Even if you have both vaccines, you can still get it. You might not even feel that you've got it, and you can still transmit it. It's a virus. So, did I wear a mask when I was out in doctors' offices and clinics and stuff? You bet, because they ask that you do. I didn't have a problem with that. And so, when I go shopping, I still wear a mask, even though I've had the vaccine. But the truth is that think about this one. The people who haven't been vaccinated are also, to a large extent, as far as I know, the same people who don't want to wear masks. Go figure that one. So here's the quote from Anthony Hopkins. Let go the people who are not prepared to love you. This is the hardest thing you will ever have to do in your life, and it will also be the most important thing. Stop having hard conversations with people who don't want to change. Stop showing up for people who have no interest in your presence. I know your instinct is to do everything to earn their appreciation and that of those around you, but it's a boost that steals your time, energy, mental, and physical health. Amen to that. When you begin to fight for a life with joy, interest, and commitment, not everyone will be ready to follow you into this place. This does not mean you need to change what you are or who you are. It means you should let go of the people who aren't ready to accompany you. If you are excluded, insulted, forgotten, or ignored by people you give your time to, you don't do yourself a favor by continuing to offer them your energy or your life. This truth is that you are not for everyone, and nor is everyone for you. That is what makes it so special when you meet people who reciprocate love. You will know how precious you are. The more time you spend trying to make yourself loved by someone who is unable to, the more time you waste depriving yourself of the possibility of this connection to somebody else. There are billions of people on this planet, and many of them will meet with you on your level of interest and commitment. The more you stay involved with people who use you as a pillow, a background option, or a therapist for emotional healing, the longer you stay away from the community you want. Maybe if you stop showing up, you won't be wanted. Maybe if you stop trying, the relationship will end. Maybe if you stop texting, your phone will stay dark for weeks. That doesn't mean you've ruined the relationship. It means the only thing holding it back was the energy that you gave to keep it going. That is not love. It's attachment. It's wanting to give a chance to those who don't deserve it. You deserve so much. There are people who should not be in your life. The most valuable thing you can have in your life is your time and your energy, and both are limited. When you give your time and energy, it will define your existence. When you realize this, you begin to understand why you are so anxious when you spend time with people in activities, places, or situations that don't suit you. And you shouldn't be around. Your energy is stolen. You will begin to realize that the most important thing that you can do for yourself and for everybody around you is to protect your energy more fiercely than anything else. Make your life a safe haven. in which only compatible people are allowed. You are responsible. You are not responsible for saving everyone. You are not responsible for convincing them to improve. It is not your work to exist for people or to give your life to them. If you feel bad, if you feel compelled, you will be the root of your problems. Fearing that you will not return the favors you have granted, or fearing that they will not return the favors you have granted. It is your only obligation to realize that you are the love of your destiny and accept the love you deserve. Decide that you deserve true friendship, commitment, true and complete love with healthy and prosperous people. Then wait and see how much everything begins to change. Don't waste your time with people who are not worth it. Change will give you the love, the esteem, happiness, and protection you deserve. Amen to that. What do you feel? And while you are typing that, let me go back and see what was written while I was reading that. Okay, Beth is saying, I still wear a mask at work because I fear the customers are not vaccinated and refuse to wear a mask. Yes. Jody is saying, we have the Delta variant here now. I myself would not be running around without a mask. All right. Jeannie is saying, before my surgery, they made me take a test. I was negative for COVID. That's good. On that day, you could have got it the next day, right? Jody's saying, I need to be tested on Monday and to be fully vaccinated, but I can still carry. Yes, and that's the thing we all need to understand. We can be fully vaccinated, and that will hopefully keep us out of the morgue. But it doesn't mean we won't get it, and it doesn't mean we can't spread it. So think about that. Beth is saying, I act joyful around everyone. I give more energy to the ones who are unable to show joy. I am the example to others, even though they don't want to receive my gifts of finding joy and happiness. Amen, Beth. And the same as I said, when I was reading that, I go, I choose to spend time with people who are not necessarily at the same mindset. And the reason I do is because not everybody has had the fortune to have learned what I have learned. And that's what I said. If ever I got onto YouTube, I would share my knowledge of what I had learned over the last 73 years, right? And that to me is why I do the broadcast. And, I've also said if one person finds value, then it's worth doing it. And I'll do another broadcast. And I can't tell you, especially in the summer, when we have less viewers and things, I sometimes wonder, oh, is it worth doing it? And then I will just pray on that. And 9 times out of 10, within 24 hours, I'll get a note from somebody saying, thank you so much for doing what you do. So, it's not about don't spend your time helping other people. That's not what I hear. What I hear is don't do it expecting a reward. All right. When I say expecting a reward, I have somebody in my life who constantly expects other people to do the same level of things that she does. And she gets upset. Or that they require more, that they're not at her level at certain things. And she gets upset. And I'm going, everybody's going at their own pace. Everybody is going at their own pace. Everybody is learning at their own pace. Now, Beth is like a proverbial sponge. You feed information to Beth, she goes and goes, okay, fine, got it. It's just like scary. Jody has, I would say that since I met Jody, she is just like done a 360. She was quite the victim when I met her. She's not a victim anymore. Yeah, Beth is saying, I stayed in a safe haven way too long. I was lost in myself until I discovered I have a voice and I will be heard one way or the other. Yes, Beth, And the same thing, I have said, doing Dear Mama Sal to me is not a negative thing. All right. And so people say that to me. Why would you spend your time talking about such negative subjects? I said, I don't think they are. I don't think they are negative. I just didn't know they were positive until I learned how to turn them around. And that's what I strive to do, is to help people turn those feelings around. So it's not negative to me. So I think those words from Anthony Hopkins, are so true. All right. So if you've got somebody who never, ever contacts you, but you always contact them, stop contacting them. See what happens. You remember that Dougie did that test one time. And I found it interesting. He decided that for a month he would contact not one person, except for business. He wouldn't contact any of his friends, to see how many of them contacted him and how long it took them to realize that he hadn't contacted them. I'm so pleased to tell you, I was the first one to go, what's up? I haven't heard from you this week. Yes, Beth saying, I love getting a rude customer to smile. They have become a regular customer, and I look forward to seeing them. Yes, and Beth, you are what I call the starfish person. I'm certain you all know that story about somebody walking down the beach with a friend of theirs, and the person sees a starfish and throws it back into the ocean. And the person said, why bother? It's not going to make any difference. And the person turns around and says, it does to that starfish. You see, Beth believes in helping people one person at a time. Beth believes that if she can make one more customer smile today, that she has succeeded. And I agree with her. And so this is what it's all about, people, right? It's not about you do it because you're going to get a reward. You do it because it makes you feel good. That is the reward. But more than that, it makes the other person feel good. And my neighbor next door here, I know that she loves me, and you know why? She is wickedly cruel to me. You know what I mean? It is she has this banter that goes on, and I think she's looked forward to having somebody who can reply at the same pace. But it's just it's just really funny to listen to the conversation, and every now and then I just walk up and give her a hug to remind her that it's all good. So look at this beating up on yourself, and then look at, do you beat up on other people, and why? I think that is the question that Anthony Hopkins is posing here, which is, why do you waste your time beating up on people who don't care about you? Why do you, I am so grateful you guys spend time with me, and I presume you get some sort of reward, otherwise you wouldn't do it. But to me, it's like, it is magical because every week I get to look at another aspect of feelings or life or stuff. Do you understand? So if you look at it in the really big picture, how many of you can see that just by doing the broadcast, I'm helping myself? That's not very noble, is it? And Jody, one of the things I've noticed is you have an infinite ability to be kind. Infinite ability to be kind. And when I read this quote about beating up on yourself, I thought of you. It says, self-kindness refers to taking a warm and understanding approach towards ourselves when we are suffering, when we have made a mistake, when we're feeling inadequate, versus the stiff upper lip variation of ignoring the pain or punishing ourselves with self-criticism. Punishing ourselves with self-criticism. So thank you, Jody, for helping me, forgive myself. And you do it often because you know I'm inclined to be critical of myself. But on the other hand, can you all see that part of my being critical of myself is my motivation to change on things? Like, okay, stop complaining about it. Do something about it. And so here's what it said about beating up on yourself. It said, have compassion for the self-critical voice that is trying to protect you and or motivate you. Thank you for trying to help me. I'm going to try and motivate myself with some more kindness now. Do you understand the push on that one? I hope so. All right, let's do some unboxing. Change the thing a bit. Let me see what I want to do here. Oops. First one, under money saving. Jody, could you look up in American, if you would, how much does it cost for a 20-pack of Stash herbal teas? If you want to look specifically licorice spice. All right, and while Jody's doing that, I'll move on to the next one. How many of you would like me to start demonstrating some Christmas gift ideas? And the reason I say that is I thought I would do an experiment tonight, if you are interested, on how to make wax wraps rather than use plastic wraps, how to use wax wraps, okay? And I got some wax to show you. I'm going to be making some for my friends for Christmas. All right, gotta wait for Jody to come back to start on that one because it's for her. This is interesting. Oh, gifts in a jar. Okay, Nada, say that again when Jody's back so she can make a note of that for us, all right? I will definitely do some of it. Okay, so Jody is saying that it costs basically $9.86 for 2 boxes of 20. So for 40, say $10 for 40. Fair enough? Jody, I bought 100 for $11 Canadian. What do you think? And they're loose. Yeah, they're not packaged. Jeannie's saying you can get the 20 tea bags for $4 roughly. So, will I use 100 this week? No. Wow, what a saving. That's what I said. And I went, I love drinking. What I do is I don't like drinking straight water very much. I don't know about you guys. So I just put 1 tea bag in a carafe and that flavors all the water, and then I drink out of here and add ice cubes. Got it? Thank you, Jody. Jody, this one is for you. This next one. I know you use BioFreeze. And I found BioFreeze to be very expensive. And so I bought another one called Rapid Relief, I think. Okay. Here's the thing. What I found was I hate putting my fingers in that crud. All right? I don't like putting my fingers in it. It's much cheaper to buy it in a jar, but I don't like putting my fingers in it. So remember I made my own deodorant the other week, and I bought a roll-on, empty roll-ons so that I could do that. Well, this empty roll-on thing has turned out to be quite a thing for me. I put my BioFreeze equivalent, okay, into a roll-on, and now I don't have to stick my fingers in it. I just put it over the joints that I need. Great idea, Jody. I knew you were going to love it, Jody. By the way, how much did I spend on 4 or 6 roll-ons? About $10. But I went, not only that, but I have a problem with psoriasis. So I put my cortisol cream, which again, I hate sticking my fingers into that, so I can put that over my psoriasis. Now, what I found is that the cortisol cream is thick. And so, hang on a second, that was the wrong one. That was fun. This is it. Okay, let's try that. It's thick, really thick. And so what I found is you really need to keep it upside down so that the stuff goes to the bottom. Now, when it's got a rounded bottom, you knew that was going to be a problem. However, being Sal, the perfect hack is to stick it in a toilet roll, and it will stand upright. How many of you going, that's a Sal thing? All right, so you can still put it in a roll-on. You can just put it in a toilet roll and keep it upright. And, keep the cream coming to the roll-on section. Works. I've been trying it. I cannot tell you, Jody, I can't remember how much I saved by buying it this way, but it was a huge difference. It wasn't a little bit of difference. It was a huge difference by buying this stuff. Okay. So now then, something happened to me this week that made me go, oh no. I literally put on a t-shirt and I could smell that, what I call the old people smell. Do you know what I'm saying? I could smell the old people smell. And I went, I do not want that. Therefore, there must be some level of damp in my wardrobe. Even if I, can't see it, there is some level of damp. Now, have any of you solved the problem? Let me not presume that you have the problem, but I will tell you how I believe I have solved it. The first thing I did, oh, wait, I've got to go get it. Hold on a second. Okay. Sorry for that delay. I meant to bring this earlier. You will remember that probably 18 months ago, 2 years ago, I bought myself one of these. It's an ionizing thing. And I bought it to clean my CPAC machine. And basically what it does is it puts ozone through my mask tubes and everything to keep them healthy. So what I know is it isn't just about using it for my CPAC machine. If I've got a situation like a funny smell in a cupboard, I will turn this on for half an hour because that's how long it stays on, right? So you just literally press it and it will ionize the area. And if necessary, go down shelf by shelf in a wardrobe or in a cupboard, closet. So that's the first thing I did was, okay, I've obviously got a problem in there that I need to get rid of. And so now the next thing is that I did a bit of research. And for those of you who are campers, you probably know that product Dry Ease, I think it's called, where you get little crystals and it absorbs moisture and turns it back into water. Now, to me, that's like I'm creating that. Jody, I think the problem is her internet connection. I don't think it's us. It's easier to blame us, but I think it's her internet connection, not us. That's all I can think of. You've tried very hard to help her. All right, let me go back to this. So here's what I did. What I don't like about Dry-Ease is you have to keep buying. You know me. I hate having to buy stuff. It's what I call built-in obsolescence. So you can only use those beads once, and once they're done, and that's it. So I didn't want to buy anything that worked like that one. What I found was this, and it's called Everdry. And you can see that the crystals in there are orange. Well, hope you can. And now here's the thing. As it absorbs water, by the way, you don't need to plug it in or do anything. There's a plug there, and I'll explain why in a second. You don't need to plug it in. You just put it in a cupboard. And as it absorbs water, the crystals here will change color. They will become blue. When it becomes blue, it means it has absorbed that much water. Okay? That's when you need the plug. You literally plug it in to an outlet, and within half an hour, it will turn these beads back to orange again, and then you can just put it back in the cupboard. How many of you are going, that's smart? All right? That's smart. Because now you pay extra for it, no doubt about it. How much did I pay? I think about 30 Canadian. But my attitude is, if I don't have to keep buying more of the beads and everything else, this is a money saver for me, especially with the winter coming in and not as much moisture. If my cupboard is collecting moisture in the summer, imagine what it's going to do in the winter. So now, that's my answer. So I'm hoping that that will work. Between the ozone killing off any bacteria and that. Any comments on that? And if Jody reminds me, I will definitely. How many of you would like? How many of you can see that you could make some really fun products for your friends and put them in roll-ons for Christmas? All right, that's what I was hoping. Maybe if you've got a friend with, arthritis, you could get, or you've got a number of friends with arthritis, right? A great present to give somebody. What if, can you imagine, right? Even with aloe vera gel, who doesn't need aloe vera gel? And so, buy one container and then decant it into, I'm going to buy more of these. I found them so useful. So that's that. And the other thing I bought was, this is my favorite. I don't know if they have it in the States, Jody. Can you check whether they have Marcel in the States? I think it's Canadian. But I want to tell you something. I have used this finishing powder for the longest time, and I love it. It's mineral, and it's very reasonable, I think. I probably go through about 2 of these a year, but it does the job. Funny enough, I'm not wearing it today. Of course, the day I talk about it, I'm not wearing it. That will be because I was running late. Yes, I am talking about finishing powder. You're quite right. Right now. So, definitely for me, the biggest money saver was this. Have a look to see if you can buy your favorite tea in hundreds rather than 20s. All right, if you are into that. Now, Jody, another thing. I found out that my local Save On Foods, right, sells Mexican dark roast coffee in pods, and it's bold. It's bold, really bold. And I normally don't buy coffee in pods. Why? It's expensive. But this stuff is so strong. So strong. It really is. It really wakes you up in the morning. And what I realized is it's that first cup of coffee in the morning that I want to be really strong, right? To get me going. I found out I can actually use it again for my second cup, and it's fine. So here's the thing. If I can get 2 cups of coffee out of one pod, is it still very expensive? No. I just halved the cost of it, Jody. So now I don't feel badly about buying them because I got a twofer. Let me put it away before I forget. Okay. So if you are a big coffee drinker, consider that. All right. Get slightly bolder coffee and get better use of it. For those of you who like watching my indoor garden experiments, this is still that same lettuce that I've been showing you. Look at the roots on this thing, just growing it in a jam jar. And if you notice, I just have the water. I just have the water to the bottom of the lettuce, not too far up, just literally touching the bottom. And I do put fertilizer in it. Yeah, a little bit of fertilizer in it every now and then in that water. But, it's loving it. Does that look nice and healthy? And whenever I want a lettuce leaf, I just bring it down. I'm practicing for how am I going to do it in the winter? The stuff outside is growing nicely, but how do I do it in the winter, this winter? So that's looking pretty good. Yeah, this was a butter lettuce, and it's not looking as healthy. So what do I know? Romaine does well. Butter lettuce doesn't do well that way. See, and this is what the experiments are about. What does work? Like life. What works for you? What doesn't? Be prepared to experiment with your friends. I find it interesting that I don't have a big worry about losing friends. I don't have a feeling of great concern about losing friends. Why would that be? Now, I don't want to lose any of them. I make sure that I am a good friend back to them. But, if I were to lose my friends, you see, I've spent my life losing my friends, right? I've traveled a great deal, and I just ended up losing friends. But, so to me, what do I know? I know that I'm a friendly person. Therefore, I can make friends fairly easily. And by the way, I'm also not concerned about that because I know that if I need more friends, I will meet more people who will want to be my friend. And, or it's just because I want to be their friend doesn't mean that they want to be mine. All right, it has to be a two-way trade. And Jody's saying, I'm not concerned about it because you are a good friend and people are in our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Yes. So I don't, to me, it's like, would I be really upset if I were to lose Yvonne as a friend? Yes. Do you know, Yvonne and I don't talk to each other every day. I talk to Jody every day, I think. Yeah, no, I think. I talk to Jody every day. I don't talk to Yvonne every day, and she is probably my bestie. My very good friend Marnie, I don't speak to her more than once, maybe once a week. You know, when you look at it, everybody has a different need. It doesn't mean they're not suited. I know that Marnie is very low maintenance. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like, and she'll put up something on Facebook and I'll like it and she knows I'm there, right? That's fine. And every now and then we'll have an online meeting to make sure that we catch up. Benji and I, are due for a catch-up meeting. And what we will do is we will walk. All right, that's what we do now. We'll say it's time for a catch-up meeting, and he will phone me, and I'll put on my earphones and grab my poles, and I'll go walking and talking with him. And we normally do that for about half an hour to 3/4 of an hour, which is a good walk. So to me, it's about be aware of, the reason I am not afraid of losing friends is because I don't have a fear of getting new ones. Yeah, and Kimmy's saying all my friends have either moved away or passed away. So what are you doing to get new ones? Would be my question. Life goes on. You can't change that. So what have you done this week to make new friends? And it doesn't mean you succeeded, but what have you done to try and make new friends? And yes, and that's a good point. Jody's saying, and Kimmy, you have friends right here. Yeah, and people forget that. And quite honestly, for some people, the friends they've made here are of more value to them. By the way, a feeling of control, because this is under be prepared, not scared. Have any of you used the heat to advantage this week? Not those of you who are in the southern hemisphere. I thought. And again, it's a feeling of control. What I did this week was I took a silicone sheet like so, and I halved a whole lot of grape tomatoes. Then I covered it in paper towels, and I put it at the top level of my unit here. I think you can see the top level. Let me check. I put it. Can you see that? Just hang on. Okay. And forgot about it for 3 or 4 days. And what did I end up with? Sun-dried tomatoes. Ready for the winter. Smells so good. So, creative. What can you use sun-dried tomatoes for? By the way, this many tomatoes, how much space does it take up? Not very much. It takes up far less space than freezing them. All right? Takes up far less space. And I found that just by covering them with paper towels so that the flies, if they got in the house, they couldn't get to them, that made me feel better as well. So, if you've got, think of, basically, I'm going to now keep dehydrating stuff for the rest of the summer. Why? Didn't cost me a thing. And I didn't waste these tomatoes. All right? They would have gone bad. So what will I use them for? How many of you can see that would be great to put in on top of mac and cheese? All right? And quite honestly, you can just drop them back in water and they will plump up again. And I know what you want me to do. Okay. The experiment, right? Okay, I'm going to put them here. Put that there, and we'll see how it's plumped up by the time we finish. Oh, no, we don't have enough time. But what I do is I will show you this evening if necessary. Okay. But, I'm thinking, if you're making anything, how many of you can see even crumbling these over a salad? So sun-dried tomatoes, they cost a fortune. So why not make some? And by the way, I didn't put any herbs or spices on them or anything. I just let them dry as they are. Some of them I will use as seeds, right? Because what I've got is I got a whole lot of seeds. Janie's asking, have I been out lately with friends for a meal? Yes. I went out for my Sunday meal this week. Yeah, Jody's saying they cost a small fortune packed in oil. Yes, and I don't even now. Talking about that, Jody, that's another thing I'm thinking of doing for Christmas presents. Hold on one second. What I have done, of course, is because I've got fresh rosemary in my garden, I dried some rosemary and then I've got it in my oil. So now I've got rosemary infused olive oil. And then what I'm going to do is get some, really pretty little containers and put olive oil in them and put some. Who doesn't cook? Useful present. Huh? So to me, it's like we can be creative. Yeah, and I will take a trip to the dollar store probably this week, if Jody reminds me, and go and get myself, some suitable bottles. I'm quite far along in my Christmas giving list, actually. How are you guys doing? Are you feeling in control of Christmas yet? You know what I just thought of? Duh. What if I put butter in a roll-on thing? Great for quickly going over some bread if you... I'm going to try that. All right, so Jody's saying, I'm definitely not in control of Christmas. So again, this evening, I'm going to start on showing you one present, and then I'm going to keep every week showing you little ideas that I'm coming up with. What I now need in order to get control of Christmas, though, is I need to get some containers and get people's names on it. Those containers can be Safeway bags. It's funny, both of you, both Jeannie and Jody said, if you have butter in a roll-on, great for corn on the cob. There you go, snap. Well done, guys. So tell me, what else would dehydrate well? What else would you like to see me dehydrate? I'm thinking about, I've got all the stuff in my freezer when really I should be dehydrating a lot of the vegetable type stuff. And, if necessarily pulverizing it down and adding it to my smoothies. But, it's like I've got so much in my freezer. I got both freezers full again, just about. Amazing. I have been buying, I love raspberries with yogurt. I love raspberries in my smoothies. But I've been buying them every time they go on sale. I buy another, sort of container, sort of this size, and I just drop them straight into the freezer. So I'm thinking now I may need to put those all in a bag rather than all those boxes, because the boxes take up room. And I think I'll put them all in one plastic bag. It'll take up less space. Anybody have any feelings of joy this week? And while you think about it, oh, wait a minute, I need to go back to something that Kimmy said. Kimmy's saying that she's in one of those states. I think she's in Wyoming. She's in one of those states that has very low vaccination rate. I think it's about 30% there. What did she say? Did she tell us how much? Anyway, I seem to remember that it's about 30% in her area. And she's saying, you also don't know who has and who hasn't been vaccinated. So I don't go anywhere but the store, or if I have to go to the doctor. All right, here is the thing, Kimmy. Understand, if you have had your vaccines, you are unlikely to die from this virus now. All right, very unlikely. That's the whole thing. If you have had the vaccines, you basically need to start living life again. But do the things you need to do, right? Wear your mask, stay socially distanced where you can, and don't worry about the other people. They're the ones that are at risk now. Remember what I said. They were saying that of the X number of people that died in the last week, 93% of them had not been vaccinated. In other words, it's the people who had not had the vaccine that are at risk now. All right, so, think about that. Jeannie is saying, has anyone heard of Bofana pop sticks? They're like a popsicle, but they've got banana, mango cream, and strawberry cream. That's what we've been making, all right? We've been making our own version of that. So for those of you who want to make your own, basically use frozen bananas as a base, and blend it up and freeze it. It's amazing, the taste. I couldn't believe it myself. So that is good. Remember the feelings of joy. I want to tell you that even though I was beating up on myself about my supposed not having lost any weight, I really did feel a feeling of joy when I realized I really have now lost 4 inches off my waist. And the reason I know I have is because I enough times to know it wasn't a fluke week. I've done it enough weeks where it's down 4 inches where I go, I really have lost 4 inches. So if I can lose 4 inches, I can lose another 4. So there we go. Have any of you had any habits change? Remember what we said? If you want to change your life, it's a really good idea to add a new habit or change a habit. This idea, you remember I said to you, I was having problem remembering to take my meds once I put everything, cleaned up my vanity. I was putting my meds away and then I'd forget to take them. And then I said, the only habit I can think of is to keep my toothbrush and toothpaste in the same drawer as the meds, so that when I need my toothbrush, I can grab toothbrush, toothpaste, and meds together and put them up. That has worked so well for me. I want to tell you, it has been wonderful. The other thing I noticed is that while I'm concentrating on other things, I have some habits that are dropping away a bit. And I am trying to learn to get those habits back in. For example, getting my steps in every day. I want to get that habit back again. I have been walking at least 3 times a week, but I was doing more than that. And I want to go back to doing more. Jody, I would like to know if there is anything that we can do to support you during this week. I know you're going in for the operation. Do you know what time you must know what time your operation is on Monday? I want to know, because inquiring minds need to know. I'd like to know when you think you will be, or when Lionel will be able to let me know that you are out of the operation, because I really would appreciate that if Lionel could let me know. And do I have your permission to then let the other viewers know? Because I'm certain we'll all be holding our breath for you. And I want to get that permission today so I don't forget. All right. So, you'd love thoughts and prayers that I will, that I will do. And I will ask for them. But the thing is, we all want to work on, okay, when can we start bugging you again, right? And I know that you have every intent to be doing the broadcast next Friday, but you do know, Jody, look me in the eyes here. You do know I did the broadcast without you helping me for many, many, many years. I don't think it's the same, but I can do it without you. So if you're not well by next Friday, it's okay, Jody. All right, so that's good. Lionel has instructions to contact you on Messenger. Yes. I need to be at hospital at 8:30. My surgery is at 10. It'll be about a 2.5-hour surgery. Okay, 10, 12. So about the time that I'm compos mentis. All right. So I am very sure that that all the Dear Mama Sal viewers will be praying hard for you. Jeannie, just before I go, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing after your surgery? Are you feeling like 5 out of 10 or 8 out of 10? Where are you at, honey? And Nada, keep up the good work, Nada. I am delighted to see you. 8 out of 10, Jeannie. Well done. So you feel fit enough now to be able to go back and do your move. I keep thinking there are no coincidences, Jeannie. If your house had passed the first, that silly guy's inspection, you would have just been out of your operation. The fact that he didn't gave you the time to recover. Isn't that amazing? So, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. I hope you will remember that when you beat up on yourself, it is a heads up. Beating up on yourself doesn't change anything, right? It just makes you feel bad, because you do, all right? So when you beat up on yourself, go, okay, what is that? I need to hear that. My critic is trying to tell me something. And hear what it's about. Is it about your health? It means pay attention. Pay a bit more attention, and then ask yourself, what one thing can I do? All right. And if you remember, when I was hearing this stuff and beating up on myself, the one thing I could do is go and get to my doctor and get a series of tests done to find out what was going on with my body. And now, I've got the results, and now within the next week, I will know whether I have reason to be concerned or not. And so listen up. Beating up on yourself actually has a good side to it. But don't dwell on it, right? Just literally hear it and go, thank you for the heads up. Now then, what am I going to do about it? This is Dear Mama Sal, wishing you all a wonderful afternoon. I'm going to now start prepping for stuff that I am going to need for this evening. We're going to be doing chicken kebabs and another chicken dish that I want to do. I look forward to seeing you then. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thank you for being here and thank you for helping one another. And bye-bye for now.